Okay, Nagani. At the end of last year, Coach Paul Jacobson announced that he would be retiring as head football coach of the Nagani Miners. Well, you may have seen that a successor has been named, and I'm happy to say that the future of Nagani football is in great hands with Coach Jeff Niemi. Jeff's a Nagani guy who grew up in the system as both a player and a coach, and he's a football guy, a student of the game who's learned under Jake himself and the late, great Dick Koski, among others. Now, Coach has got a lot on his plate these days, but he took the time for a sit-down interview with Irontown Talk. Check it out. Jeff, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's got to be an honor.
Yeah, I'm excited. Honor and privilege to be able to be in this position right now, so super excited.
Now, you're a Nagani guy. You're from Nagani,
Yep.
right? Yeah, and so, in Nagani, football has been, one of the main things of our community. It's been a passion, it's been a tradition, and it's meant a lot to a lot of people. And I'm just kind of curious, what does Nagani football mean to you?
Well, going back as far as a player and then coaching for so long, it means a lot, really. I mean, the tradition that we have here is next to nobody's in the UP, maybe even in the state. And it's just something that I've been a part of for so long. It's just really been a big part of my life. But the main thing, the word that comes to my mind is family. You got, and Jake's always done a good job of this, but when kids come back 20 years later, and Coach Koski did too, that's what we're looking for. Kids coming back to the program, giving back to the program. Some are coaching just like I am, and it means a lot when that family atmosphere is there. You're together from August to whenever you're done, 3-4 months sometimes. Mm-hmm. You're together and you're with the team more than you are with your own family sometimes, and it really does become that second family away from home. So
now you've been coaching alongside Coach Paul Jacobson for a number of years now. So talk a little bit about maybe what you've picked up from him over the years.
It's been great. Jake's such a positive dude. He really finds a way to get the most out of the players, by being a positive guy. He doesn't really yell a lot. He doesn't really, get after people. And he will if he has to sometimes. But the one thing is his patience. He's a real patient guy. And obviously the hard work, he puts in endless hours. We spend a lot of time here at the Dry on Sundays, watching film and the hard work and preparation obviously is something that I learned from him early on when I started coaching with him and just knowing what it takes to get the job done, essentially.
Now you've been, obviously you said, you've been playing football since you were a kid. Now you and I were in high school together. You were a couple of years ahead of me, But I always remember Jeff Niemi being pretty damn good. So when you played, now when was that?
Oh boy, that would have been 1993.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
Back in the old century.
A long time ago, yeah. Then you go back to, if you go back to middle school football, that's almost 35 years I've been in this program. 35 straight years. It's a long time, but it doesn't feel that long though.
What got you into coaching?
I played it. I played the game. I played everything in high school. I played basketball. I played football. I wrestled in junior high. I love to play golf. I'm a pretty competitive guy, and I like that. And when I got done, I had some opportunities to maybe go and play some Division III football, and it just wasn't for me at the time. It was expensive, and I was just kind of, where do you go from there? So I was kind of done with football in my playing days, and I said, well, what's the next best thing? You can go and coach. I've had some other relatives. My uncle used to coach, and so I figured, well, what a better way to stay in the game than to do it that way. So that was kind of my reasoning for getting into it.
Now, you've been around the program, you said almost 30, 35 years. What are some of your favorite memories as a coach?
Oh boy, there's lots of them, I mean, I can remember, and it wasn't so much the winning, but one year I was coaching JV with Coach Koski, and Kevin Bell was the head coach, and Coach had came back after he retired and coached some JV football with us, and we won the conference that day, but we played there had to have been a foot of snow on the field. Like,
Who were you playing?
we were playing Westwood,
Yeah.
and so it was up in Westwood, and there was easily a foot of snow on the field, and they somehow scraped off the yard lines, and we played, and it was a blast. The kids had a blast, and it was just kind of playing to play, I think I wasn't a part of the varsity staff, but being on staff as a JV coach and going down to the Silverdome obviously was a great experience. Winning that state title was pretty special, even though I wasn't a varsity staffer at the time. But and then obviously a couple of years ago when we went down to Ford Field, just a great experience, great group of kids, But there's endless seasons that we were really good, and some not so good. But it's just there's a lot of memories, a lot of times of laughter. I can remember KJ and I just cackling sometimes at something that happened that probably shouldn't have been even laughing at, but we were just laughing and just a lot of good memories.
What kind of a coach are you? What's your style?
It's kind of changed over the years. I used to be maybe a little bit harder. Again, I think learning from Jake and kind of learning to maybe push buttons a different way. But I'm still fiery. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push hard, and I'm gonna be energetic, and that's kind of what I'm looking for in the players too. Like be enthusiastic. You're out there. It should be fun.
So let's just talk a little bit about the season coming up now. This is your first year as the head coach, head of the program. What are you looking to do for this first year?
In all honesty, we lost some pretty key guys, but we got some key guys coming back, and we had a pretty good JV team. We're just kind of hoping to keep the tradition going and keep the ball rolling. Go out there and always comes down to blocking and tackling. Mm-hmm. If we can block well and we can tackle well, we'll be fine. And that's what we're gonna focus on, the fundamentals, and just kind of push on those and hopefully keep the ball rolling.
So what do you think? Negaunee has always been one of the premier football schools in the state, really. What do you think contributes to that? What makes Negaunee's football good?
Obviously we talked about the tradition already, and that tradition, it helps, right? I mean, kids grow up seeing it, and so then they get at it, and then they want to do the same thing, and then more kids see it. So it's kind of one of those things that kind of can snowball for you a little bit. But I think the one of the greatest assets of this town is the community support. It's massive. If fans are here watching the games, if you need something, somebody will find a way to get it for you. So the community support is great. The administration is very supportive of athletics. We think we've got a pretty good tradition of academics here too, and the arts, and Kevin Bell and now Kyle's got teams going to these bridge building things, and we've got just good tradition in general, and I think that makes for kids wanting to contribute and be a part of it. So
I got to ask you, I think we've played for him. A lot of people played for the legendary coach Dick Koski, who recently passed away. Now, you had the opportunity to coach alongside of him. Can you talk about a little bit about what that was like?
Yeah. It was, one of my favorite stories of Coach was, because you played for him, he was a pretty fiery guy too, but he was maybe a little bit different than I was, but he walked in when he was going to coach JVs with us that year, and he looked at Kevin and I, and he told Kevin, he's like, all right, you got to be the positive one. And he looked at me, and he said, you're going to be the positive one too. He says, I'm going to get on them, and you guys got to bring them back up, so, and because he was kind of a hard coach, right? I mean, but then going through that experience with him, it was really nothing like that. He was just a coach out there coaching, and just so knowledgeable. The guy at that time, I was pretty young. He had forgotten more football than I had ever known. So no, it was great to play for him and then get to coach alongside of him. Though it was really, it was just a special 2 years. It was only 2 years, but it was pretty special.
Yeah, and what a great opportunity to be able to coach alongside just such a legendary guy like that. It meant so much. So I guess really now, that being said, you coach alongside Koski, you coach along Jacobson. Compare the two.
It's more in their personality. There's some differences. Coach Koski was more stern. And I always kind of think of him as more of a father figure. Jake is more like a brother. He was more, I don't know, he's more laid back and just different in his approach, but really a ton of similarities. Like I talked about the blocking and tackling and the things that are important. They were all about those things, and they were going to make sure that those things, kind of were the forefront of what we were doing. And again, preparation. There's nobody that spent more time than either one of them. Certainly guys spent just as much, I'm sure, at other programs, but nobody spent more time than they did. Organization, a lot of similarities, not a ton of differences.
Yeah. Is that something that you're gonna continue on?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. You come to practice and everybody thinks that's when it's done, but spend a lot of time at home watching game film, trying to come up with ways to stop people, trying to come up with ways to score on people. There's a lot of time that's spent in, we really here as a staff, since I've been here, we've all spent just as much time doing those types of things. We watch together, but then we watch on our own. So yeah, going to be a lot of time spent, but I don't think there's another way to do it. You got to be prepared. So
yeah. Excellent. Well, what are you looking forward to the most?
The thing I'm most excited about is just, and it really probably not any different than any other year, but getting out there first day of practice. That's fun every year. It's a blast, and I don't think that I would do it for this long if it wasn't anymore. So I'm just looking forward to getting out there and getting started.
Coach, congratulations. Thrilled that you're our new head coach, and good luck this year.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.